This is the stiff leg barbell deadlift. Now the purpose of the stiff leg deadlift is to keep the legs slightly straighter so that we can emphasize the stretch on the hamstrings. So I'm going to shift my hips back, keeping my legs as straight as I can so I get a deep stretch in the hamstrings. And then my intention to come back up is to imagine that I'm trying to drive my heels back through the floor behind me as I also slightly press into the floor to stand up straight. Now, I'm going to set the barbell at an appropriate height so that I don't need to pull it from the floor. I'm also going to use lifting straps to ensure that I'm not going to drop the barbell and I don't need to worry about my grip. You may also want to use a lifting belt when we start to lift weights that are body weight or above. Then it's going to be very beneficial for your core and spine bracing. I'm going to set up with my straps, making sure my grip is rock solid. I'm going to set my shoulders down, feet underneath the barbell, stand up. I'm going to take a step back with my feet underneath my hips. I'm going to take a deep breath in, brace my core. And I'm going to shift my hips back, keeping my legs as straight as I can to emphasize the stretch on the hamstrings. So deep breath in at the top, shoulders down and back to keep the bar nice and close to me. So you can see I'm going to emphasize the hamstrings by keeping my legs straight, just like we would if we were going to do a hamstring stretch and reach down to touch the floor. Main points to make sure we don't damage your lower back is that we want to brace your core, use a lifting belt, keep the bar close to you throughout, and we're also going to take a breath in and use your breathing and bracing appropriately so that your lower back is protected. We also want to avoid rounding at the lower back because the goal is to get into hip flexion with straight legs or legs almost fully straight so that we can stretch the hamstrings without going into a rounding of the lower back. So my goal is not to get as low as possible. It's to shift my hips back, stretch my hamstrings, and then drive my heels back through the floor to stand up and extend at the hip. That is the stiff leg barbell deadlift.